สวัสดีครับขอต้อนรับท่านผู้ชมทุกท่านเข้าสู่รายการเสียงไทยเพื่อเสรีภาพของคนไทยนะครับความขัดแย้งเรื่องของผลเลือกตั้งประธานาธิบดีสหรัฐอเมริกาในประเทศสหรัฐอเมริกานั้นก็ยังคงดำเนินอยู่นะครับความคิดหรือความเห็นทางการเมืองที่แบ่งแยกคนอเมริกันออกเป็น2ฝ่ายอันนี้เป็นเรื่องที่น่าสนใจและน่าติดตามอย่างยิ่งนะครับคนอเมริกันเขากำลังจะวางอนาคตทางการเมืองอย่างไรความขัดแย้งนี้จะสามารถที่จะประสานกันได้และร่วมมือกันได้ตาม Spirit of America ได้จริงๆหรือไม่ในความเป็นประชาธิปไตยนะครับจะพูดคุยเรื่องนี้กับคุณโทนี่นอร์แมนนะครับซึ่งเป็นคอลัมนิสต์ของPittsburgh Post Gazette หรือ Gazette นะฮะอยู่ที่เมืองพิตต์เบิร์กรัฐเพนซิลเวเนียแล้วก็เป็นคนหนึ่งที่ให้การสนับสนุนพรรคเดโมแครตนะครับโดยเฉพาะคุณเบอร์นีแซนเดอร์ซึ่งก็จะเป็นการวิเคราะห์ถึงความคิดและความรู้สึกของเขาต่อการเมืองของอเมริกาที่เกิดขึ้นอยู่ในเวลานี้นะครับ Hi Tony thank you so much for being with me
My name is Tony Norman, and I'm a columnist and associate editor at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which is the largest newspaper in Western Pennsylvania and one of the largest newspapers in the state. I've been a columnist for 20 years, and I've been at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for about 28 years. So near a long time.
Right.
So I write about politics and culture.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, the big question for me, for you, that why Hillary Clinton lost this election? What happened to her?
Well, Hillary Clinton lost the election because there are a lot of people in America, mostly white working class people, who were so angry about the establishment, about the status quo, about trade agreements, that they took it out on her and embraced Donald Trump because he said that he would throw out all of these bilateral trade agreements and start from scratch. And she did not have as extreme a position, so people voted for him.
Right. It's anything related to the failure or the failed policy of Barack Obama.
I think that it was mostly a referendum on both parties in a way, because both parties prior to Donald Trump have been very strongly pro international trade and pro all of the policies that Americans who feel disenfranchised blame for their problems. Americans feel comfortable blaming foreigners for their problems. They say that all the jobs have been exported to China or Japan or Mexico. And so a candidate comes along and says, hey, elect me and I will bring back all the jobs that were sent overseas, and I will bring back all of the industries that used to employ you, and you will get your $30 and $25 an hour jobs again if you vote for me. It's a fantasy. But he was promising to do all this, and lots of Americans who haven't voted in a long time came out and voted for him. But oddly enough, Hillary Clinton got more votes than Donald Trump. It's just that he won in key states. And in this country, you become president according to how many electoral votes you get, not in terms of how many votes you get in terms of people actually voting. If we were just to go by the number of votes that the candidates got, Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump quite handily. But she didn't beat them in the right states.
The system of the election that fair enough to vote for the majority of the people, because someone say this is not directly elected, So some Americans say we have to fix that, or
right.
What do you think?
It's an 18th century clause in our Constitution. And so it is difficult to fix because you would have to get both parties
I see.
To go along with opening up a constitutional convention. And that is unlikely to happen because each side sees this as to their advantage at any given time. This is the second time that a presidential candidate has won the popular vote but still not been elected president in the last 20 years. The last time this happened, it was in 2000 when George Bush won the Electoral College but lost the popular vote to Al Gore, and George Bush became president. So it seems to be happening more often than it's happened in our history before.
The political tradition of American when the campaign over, when they got the new president.
Right, the president-elect.
Yes, right. Many Americans still feel happy, or maybe okay, the campaign is over, something, so they can see the future of the country. But
right.
Can you compare right now? Many American people, they're very feel bad
very
and unhappy.
Yes, right.
That is different from in the past. Can you tell me about this?
Yes, it's well. There's always the feeling of alienation on the part that the folks who lose are always feeling bad about it. But I think what's different now is that there is a real, almost an existential dread about Donald Trump on the part of a lot of Americans. Most Americans voted for Hillary Clinton, but she is not the president. So there's a feeling of frustration. A lot of people don't understand how the system works, so they don't understand why she's not their president when she got the most votes. A lot of young people who are just afraid of the policies that that Donald Trump might enact are anxious, and they've taken to the streets. A lot of folks who are afraid of what his policy would do in terms of deporting them back to their countries, they're protesting. A lot of young Democrats, a lot of people who feel that the next 4 years are going to be very difficult politically are protesting. And this is a little different than in past years. In past years, people may have felt that they lost an election, but they would basically be all right. This time, people feel that there is a real threat to them for losing the election, and that's what's different.
Many Americans, they vote for Trump because they want to have a new thing, something is changing.
Yes.
In the past, in Barack Obama the period, they have many something is boring or have something is doesn't fix in this term, but they want something new. But when Trump is coming, and why they're afraid, why they're unhappy, what happened with the?
There's a deep suspicion on the part of even people who support Donald Trump that he really doesn't know a whole lot. He doesn't know how the government operates. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know enough about American history. He doesn't know enough about international history. He doesn't know enough about domestic politics or the institutions. He is just like a lot of Americans, very inattentive to the details. They like him because he's charismatic. He's someone who can entertain you. He's a reality. I guess you have reality television in Thailand.
Right.
He's a reality TV star here, so he knows how to entertain. But he really isn't someone. If you listen to him, he is not someone who has a grasp of the issues. And a lot of Americans can relate to that. They feel, hey, I'm dumb. I don't really understand the issues. And this man is like me, and he makes me feel comfortable, and he makes me feel, even though I have these prejudices, there's nothing wrong with me. And so a lot of people relate to that, and they vote for that. This is a very divided country racially, religiously, in terms of its economics, and so forth. And there are a lot of white people who are used to being in control who feel very alienated when they see a black man like Barack Obama in the White House, and that does not sit well with them. And so the first opportunity they get to sort of to throw out someone who is identified with Barack Obama, and that was Hillary Clinton, then they say, well, we're not going to vote for you because you will just be a third term behind Barack Obama, and we don't like him. And so you have a lot of people who just come out to vote for the first time to defeat Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton, again, was beaten very narrowly in the Electoral College. And she is beating Donald Trump in terms of actual votes. And so we got to keep that in mind. So majority of the people in the country who bothered to vote voted for Hillary. And again, she just won. He won more of the right states than she did. So it's a matter of how the Electoral College delegates are divvied up, and that's why he's president.
Do you think he's going to change his attitude and personalities after he take over the?
I don't think he's going to change his attitudes, and I think his personality is what it is. But I don't think he will be able to execute the things he wants to do. There's still lots of Democrats in the U.S. Senate who can stop him, and the people in his own party can stop him because he's really a demagogue. He isn't really a guy who is a true Republican in the sense that the Republican Party is used to. And a lot of things that he said he would do, he said them only in the heat of the political contest. He didn't really mean them. Or if he meant them, he understood deep down that those things can't really happen in this country. He probably will be managed very well by all the people who are suspicious of him, and they will keep him pretty much in a box.
What do you think, how about the demonstration and the protester right now will be?
People were in such shock that Donald Trump won that they had to come out on the streets and demonstrate their disapproval. It may go on into the weekend, but I don't see it really going on much longer. It'll re-emerge in January when Donald Trump is sworn into office, when he actually becomes President of the United States. There will be people who will protest at his inauguration. There will be people who will protest him in Washington, D.C. But I think he's going to lay low for a while and actually start studying because he doesn't know anything about American. This would be like if I had gone to Thailand and lived there for a couple of years and learned the language, and then decided to run for, parliament, a seat in parliament in Thailand, and tried to rise as much as I could without really understanding your history and all that. Donald Trump knows very little about his own American history, and now he's about to become the president of the United States. He has a lot of studying to do just to be incompetent, and so. I'm sure he's going to keep his head down. He's not going to be on Twitter anymore. He's not going to be doing any of the goofy stuff he's done, until the election.
So from now on, what do you think, when you look to the future of the American country? What do you think in the period of time, like 2 years or 8 years in the Trump period?
Well, I think Donald Trump is going to be a one-term president, whether he's a good president, if he turns out to be better than anyone thought, or not. If he turns out to be a better president, the people who elected him will be very, very angry because they want him to do things. They want him to deport 12 million people, which is impossible. They want him to ban Muslims from coming to America, which is impossible. They want him to do all sorts of things that he cannot do. Reinstitute waterboarding, which is torture. They want him to do all sorts of stuff that he cannot do. And if he turns out to be a better president than we all fear, then he won't do any of those things, in which case he's going to be thrown out by his own people, by his own voters. So I don't think he's going to be here much beyond the next 4 years. Who knows what's going to happen after that? I think that we've gotten ourselves into a bit of a jam in this country, and it's going to be difficult to kind of figure out what comes next.
All right. Thank you so much, Tony Norman, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye bye. คุณโทนี่นอร์แมนนะครับซึ่งเป็นคอลัมนิสต์ของหนังสือพิมพ์ Pittsburgh Post นะครับซึ่งอยู่ที่เมือง Pittsburgh รัฐเพนซิลเวเนียนะครับแล้วก็เป็นผู้ที่สนับสนุนพรรคเดโมแครตนะครับโดยเฉพาะเบอร์นีแซนเดอร์สนะครับเป็นคนอเมริกันคนหนึ่งที่สะท้อนมุมมองเรื่องของการเมืองอเมริกาที่กำลังเป็นที่สนใจของทั่วโลกอยู่ในเวลานี้นะครับนี่คือทั้งหมดของรายการเสียงไทยเพื่อเสรีภาพของคนไทยในวันนี้นะครับขอบพระคุณที่ติดตามรับชมคุยกันใหม่ครั้งหน้าวันนี้ลาไปก่อนครับสวัสดีครับ